but allow me continue. So soon to our speaker just joined, you introduce him and give him the floor to speak to us while other people join us because I know they're still joining. Thank you. Okay, I think some people left the meeting. Uh, okay, network and data issues. So I'm just going to go ahead with moderating and yeah. So I can see Mr. Onyeka. Mr. Onyeka, welcome to Nascent Community. And you just came in when I was explaining what Nascent is all about. So I'll just go over it again.
Hi guys, thank
Nascent.
you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you, sir. Nascent is a youth-based community where we discuss topics that concern us as humans,
Please
and
confirm you can hear me.
yeah, we for us to develop ourselves better. We discuss amongst ourselves in the group and community, but once in a month we have webinars and invite professionals to speak to us, and then weekly we have newsletters we send out on various topics. So today's topic is about tech. We're looking at the future and we see how tech is the future. And if you don't have one or more tech skills, it will be difficult to have a smartphone. Before you know it, everybody may be required to write code. I don't know how correct that is. That's why Mr. Onyeka is here to tell us what to expect from tech in the future. So, sir, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you
Can
very
you?
much. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, good day guys. So I am going to go right to it. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Biosaya Kachuku and I want to share my screen so that we can proceed. Give me 1 second. So while I am doing that, part of the reason why I am trying to get this from an angle of someone who doesn't have a background in anything technology. So I am going to come from that aspect so that everyone can kind of see I am using myself as a subject matter because it could the challenge is what it feels like joining in from background in technology and so on and so forth. So I am going to be addressing that. Let me just share my screen and please confirm when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen venturing into the tech industry. What does the future look like?
All right, so this is part of the questions that I myself asked myself during the point of going into tech. So it's always good to look at it from this angle. But first of all, before I proceed, let me just go ahead to introduce myself properly. All right, so my name is Bosaya Gachku, and I am a system analyst and some. So in the aspect that my job and my role is always to come into a system and assess to see how to best improve it using technology and all. So before now, I've journeyed a lot through the growing process and I've been a creative designer. I am also a full stack designer and developer, a no-code developer also. I do coach and career mentoring, and also I'm the host of LinkedIn Local Port Harcourt. So I do have affiliations with some institutions and my own paradigm and why I met, I think I came in a little bit when you were talking about Nascent, and I've also asked questions for clarifications as well. So I wrote a thesis during the NYSC that highlighted my goal, which is my everyday plan, my everyday motivation, which is growing to build technologies that will make life easier and also building an alternative form of education that will compare to the formal education we know, which is learning skills and also trying to get involved. So let me jump right to it. So kickstarting in technology, it's always the foundational thing, and having to start from no background, there are some challenges that you're going to meet. I'm still going to highlight that later on. And also, first of all, let's look at how to get started at first. So a career is in technology is something that has no boundary. It's just a lot of possibilities, a lot of challenges where we can see that. And the possibilities are endless because every day new niches keep coming out. There are some niches that doesn't exist a few months back, a few years back. If you realize project management have been there like in the local age, but wasn't there in the tech space per se because there was no active for a developer could just start from the beginning of a project to the finish of the project, winging it, trying to see how to dodge the bullet and also at the end of the day deliver the project. But now we have project management, and out of project management, we have another niche, which is product managers and everything that comes in between. So most of the challenges also when you jump into technology is also to look at that you're not good enough and you're not smart enough to jump into things, and there's going to be a lot of rooms and everything that will stumble your growth or kind of become a challenge for you. But let's get started and look at it this way. So looking at everything you have as a background, it's also assessing before you go into technology, there are some questions you need to answer to yourself, and there are some things you need to actually come to terms with before you proceed to the next step, which is understanding in the global scale how you want to come into technology and what you want to offer per se. So looking at this, how and where do I begin, right? So everybody has a story that motivates them to go into tech. My story is different from yours. It's always about someone can come in and tell you that they just saw how difficult it was to get the tax done. They saw how challenging it is for something that they wanted to do in school. A guest of mine sometime in one of my shows also asked me similar questions. What brought me into technology? And her own story is different. Her story is while she was in school, she had challenges with course clearance, course form, course issues, and it was something that she could solve using a simple technology integration. But she has no background in technology, and it's always that challenge that needs to be cut off. Sorry, okay. So it's always that challenge. It's always that challenge when someone comes into technology and you want to provide solution, but you don't have that background. So for others, it's basically about solving the everyday need, going into providing some kind of technology in your field of study, or maybe you just want to make money out of it. There is nothing wrong with that as well. We all know that technology these days has become a little bit easier to cope with. And initially, when we went into tech and trying to survive in technology or trying to get more opportunities, it wasn't as easy as now because I remember what my dad used to ask me and my uncles used to ask me, I hope you're not doing Yahoo Yahoo. So it's always that question of not knowing what tech presents, but now it's different because it's a global knowledge and people kind of get more involved right now when it comes to technology, knowing that it pays more. So whatever your reason is, whatever your niche, or whatever your motivation is for you to go into this industry or niche, it's all going to be covered on this. So looking at this, the first step to do or to take when having to jump into tech is always to do your research. I've met a lot of people that I mentor and a lot of people that I talk to and a lot of people that I also train when it comes to different skills. It's always about coming in first. In my company, we have a few interns that are interning with us, and most of them come in with the mindset of doing something specific. They watched the movie, they saw metrics, and they suddenly wanted to develop the interest of being a developer, right? Okay, that's good. But there is more to it. When jumping in, most of them that come in as an intern ends up changing their mind because I will first take you through the process of trying to understand yourself first. Now, technology is broad. For you to go into any skill that you want to dive into, you have to first discover yourself as a person before you know your role and how you can play it better in technology. So that's the first thing. And there are some things that you could consider when you're going through this journey. First of all, you can start by researching the major areas which are popular. If you have nothing in mind, you can now first assimilate to check if those things are things that relate to you personally, or if those things are things that you could get motivated in, and if those things are things you can also contribute to your quota, because there's a little bit of challenge when it comes to or competition when it comes to in the tech world. So you also have to consider that when you're joining in. Now, I do have that. I'm going to use graphic design as an example in this. So you have to know the knowledge when it comes to that assimilation of whatever industry, whatever niche that you want to identify in the tech industry. You have to also go through all those research. After you've done the research, you've gotten a key point of a few things that you want to go into. Also understand that you don't have to go too far from the kind of person you are, right? So you can go about to ask people that are already in the tech industry to ask them what they feel, what they think you should do, which area that is a little bit more lucrative for you as a person, being that they know you. Or you can just Google online as you see my screen, things to know about being a graphic designer, assuming you're going for graphic design. You'll get a lot of tips, but I don't count because sometimes on the internet you have to getting information is not just the issue, but getting the reliable information or something that is tailored to fit you specifically. So most times you won't get the answer online. It's always about discovering first before you can proceed. Now, after you've discovered yourself, now the discovery process is not just about going through all this. I like to also make it narrow it down to before you decide, you look inward to yourself to what you came from. If I am an artist, for example, and I love painting and I want to come into tech, no matter what you're doing currently, because everybody has what they did or what they are doing before they want to transcend into the tech world. No matter what you're doing, you can come to that understanding that at that point of time, you need to evaluate to see how best you can come in and how best you can serve in order to make sure that you have a very smooth and easy flow into transition into tech and all. But once you've decided this, the next step is also to take your path. Now, the path you've chosen, after carrying out the necessary research, you have to also make a decision. Now, a friend of mine, during that point that we are trying to do the whole choose your tech, choose your niche thing, I started working in tech industry quite very early. From my second year, I joined into AfroHub. I started with database management, a little bit of very fascinated about the whole thing, the whole internet and everything. It was kind of a little bit new then. So, but I kept having that curiosity to go further and further. But some of my friends would just look through, and the next day they are web developers. They want to go into web development. The next day they come in, they see another neighbor that's going into graphic design because it's quite to them an easy or shorter route to entering into technology. You have that, so it's all about to them. It's about always going back and forth and always finding whatever they feel that they want to go into. Now, the process in researching, first of all, is to search. Don't enter this for the wrong reasons. You have to first assimilate and understand yourself first. Don't just follow the crowd. So identifying your kind of person, identifying who you are specifically will give you a sense of what you want to go for, what you are going to contribute when it comes to this particular space. It's not just about coming into the tech industry. Most people just jump into the tech industry and they get swallowed by the whole everybody's doing it kind of thing. So, and also the second one is that you have to think about your current translatable skill. Just like I said, if I was a painter and I want to move from that painting in the real world, like normal physical painting, to transcend myself into technology, I would consider graphic design, which is UI UX, creative designs, digital painting, a lot of things that has to do with what I was doing originally. Now, what I'm doing in this note is not more like trying to digitalize myself only. No, I'm trying to make it that when I'm learning, I still maintain that familiarity of a little bit sense of what I've done in the past. I just don't have to throw away all my experiences that were gathered over the years because I'm going to a new industry. Growth is about developing what you already have, building on top of what you've layered on over the time. So it's just about increment in knowledge. So tossing away what I already have as a background, which I've built, like everything I've known, to me, I will feel like I've just wasted all my life waiting. So most people still feel this way when they join or when they go into technology. They feel persuaded to switch into something because of a little bit of motivation wrongly addressed or directed. At some point in their life, they start feeling like, so after studying all these, I wasted my years and everything. Yes, I studied industrial physics, and if you look at my background and how I have transited into technology full time, you find what's the connection. But there's always a takeaway from where I am coming from to where I am now, because it also give me that small information that I had to have for me to be able to be good in whatever choice, whatever niche I pursue in tech. Now, nothing just happened by accident when you're trying to choose a skill. It has to be done intentionally. So you have to just get started, regardless of whatever it is, but it has to be intentional. So you choose an initial career path that you want to do. It doesn't matter what career that you're choosing, but understand that at every point you can transcend yourself. Remember when I was introducing myself, I told you at earlier point of my life I was a creative designer. But every day I evolve. It's not inconsistency, it's me moving towards a path. There's a difference. But also understand that during that moving, that nothing is set in stone. What you're doing is finding a path. Just like I said, I move my interns when they come. I make sure that throughout all the departments you serve in all those departments to assimilate and understand what they stand for. There's always this misunderstanding going on in the tech world. If you can also relate, if you're a designer, you hate a developer. Yeah, if you're a developer, designers give you terrible work. Yeah, so you find out that is always the issue because nobody has gone through to wear the developer's shoes, and you've not gone through the process to see from a designer's perspective. I myself have gone through both, so I think I now can translate and say, okay, and now I understand. If I do design, for example, UI UX for someone who's a developer, it's not going to be as crazily beautiful as I would like it as a designer because I know how technical it is to translate designs when you're coding about it, or when you're coding it rather. So it's that. Now, there's a lot of statement that says something like follow your passion. It's good. It's very, very good. But you have to fully understand what it means to go through your passion when it comes to the tech industry. Now, following your passion, I love that statement because somebody told me that years ago and I followed my passion. And I think it took me to that process where I was struggling at some point. Yeah, to me, it was easy to break out, but some others, I've seen a lot of people just quit, go to teaching, just follow the easy part out. At least you go to maybe a secondary school where they know you use Excel very well, so you become the king of Excel in a secondary school setting or something like that. Just basically taking away whatever you've learned so far before you got frustrated to something, a little bit of space where you become the one eye king, right? So I've seen a lot of people do that. But the thing is, when I am taking you to the process of training, I advise you to take your passion. Yes, it's good. Follow your passion. But another thing you have to understand is passion is not enough. Passion takes you to the road where you have to begin your journey. Along the road, passion will leave you, and you will be frustrated. You'll be tired. You will feel like you've wasted your years if you've invested up to years, and you find out that at that point, if you don't have anyone to speak to, or if you don't have anything that will break you out of that session, of that cycle, you will be frustrated. So in choosing a career in technology, you have to also consider when you have that passion, what is going to be your motivation for every day you wake up. Now, I'm going to be asking a few questions later on in this our talk so that we can understand fully what I'm coming in when I'm talking about passion. For example, if I choose to go into web development, I love the website because when I surf through people's website, I like the looks, feels, and I feel I can contribute. I feel like this developer has done a good work in the functionality. It's not really looking that good. I have those opinions, and I jumped into a development, for example. And along the way, I faced challenges. This is just something I entered for the wrong reason because I think I am passionate at the point where I feel I could offer more. But then I'm frustrated because I have not started earning. I've put a lot of money to data. I've put a lot of money to getting my system or getting my equipment or the tools I'm going to make use of. So you find out at that point you feel like you're just investing into something that doesn't pay. If you're choosing a passion, choose a passion that you know at every point there will be a remuneration. So in learning, I also have some earlier videos I recorded some time ago that I was talking about how to learn or the process of learning. The process of learning is always about choose your passion. Yes, go ahead. But always have that career monitor. There, when it comes to that point, I have a few persons in my life that they call me. I can follow them up and be a checkmater for them to make sure that at all points you're still sticking to what you need to stick to. Talk to you when you need to get that motivation. Why you're doing this, please know why you're doing this. Why do you want to enter into technology? If it's for the money, it's good. Money is also good, but when added to your passion, you find out a little bit of mix between both gets you there. Because at some point you find out that the drives you have, the movement that you're taking, the journey that you've begun, it's going to transcend into something real because then you have a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, that reminds me about the post I saw. I say, why does the light has to be at the end of the tunnel? But it's fine. Now, the next one is finding the tools and resources online. It's something that is a question, and I myself, I think the best part of relating to this is talking about how myself went through these processes. Now, finding the tools and resources online has been a journey. Some people will go type free tools to use for graphic design. You can search that, or some people will tell you to go through the process of journeying through tutorials and using the ones that the tutorial person or the person that is tutoring you on a specific stuff is using, which I also advise is good. So, but understanding that having to pick the right tool is always an issue. It's just like an instrument trying to learn a skill. When you finish learning a skill, you mustn't use the tool to which your boss taught you how to do the work. You can find out that the fork is good for scooping this, but the spoon is better. Yeah, if you have eaten coconut, for example, let's say the coconut that's not properly ripe, that's in between coconut. It's good to use knife, yes, you can just cut it. But if you use spoon, it's quite better. So you find out that a lot of things apply on this. When it comes to technology, is that way you have to pick tools that best translate to what you want to use. Now, to find these tools and resources, you can Google online, search for softwares that are available for free. But some people also come into technology with money. If you are part of those people, it's fine. You can also get some softwares which are for sale. But I do advise people before you go for something you have to pay for online, discover what you want to do, what you want to use, whether it is for you. Every preparations or every tutorials are prepared to fit a specific kind of person. It's not general to everyone because it's designed to fit a class of people. It's designed to fit a kind of people that journey through the process. Like I'm talking about my story, I'm also relating it to break it down to wherever you're coming from. Some people will go straight to their tutorial talking about, okay, before you can jump into this course, you must have known what JavaScript is all about if you're talking about programming. And you find out that you not having a background in JavaScript cannot fit into that particular course that you're taking. In as much as the terms are simpler, some might go ahead to even tell you that even if you don't know JavaScript is good, complete this course, you can go back. And I bet you when you're going through those courses, there's some variables or there's some terms that you will not relate to better because you have not gone through the basics before you got there. So it's the same way with choosing a tool. Work with the one that your mentor or maybe your tutorial person has and then you can transcend to the one that you want to use. So we've spoken about how the passion and everything takes on. Now, consistency is something that a lot of people don't have when it comes to tech. It's okay, let's cut to the chase. The thing is, barging into technology or venturing into technology is difficult, but nothing good comes easy. So it has to be difficult for a reason. When you put in the work, you get results. But you don't expect. I've seen a lot of people. I saw a viral video some time ago that says you can be a programmer in 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month, but you can just get motivated. Those are the stimulation period. So you have not learned anything. You probably learned HTML, for example, if I'm talking about programming. So if you learned that and someone is telling you, oh, you're a programmer, please don't be fooled. It takes time for you to build a skill. There's a lot of shortcuts, yes, but know what you want to know and have that particular consistency. I won't advise for the shortcut because then when it comes to that particular uh, technology is built about collaboration. And when it comes to collaborating with people, you will find out that you can't go through the route of the normal process where others go through. So it's best to, before you can work with templates, I'll use that word in design. So if I'm teaching you graphic design, for example, I'll go through the process of telling you first, learn the basics, learn the tools, know how to make use of all these things before you can jump into editing templates. Once you find out there's a shortcut, you will not venture, you will not have that drive again to go and suffer yourself to go through the normal route. So, but whatever you're doing, be consistent. Another reason why you might be bored out of your mind when you're learning a skill is when you are trying to assimilate everything at once. Yet they have done the calculation and have told you that before you can become a developer, it will take you about 6 months, and you calculated, okay, how many hours do I have to put in? And they told you, just put in two hours every day, you are fine. In 6 months, in no time, you have a job in UK and everything. So it's fine. And then you decided, I will make it 3 months. I can do 4 hours per day. But you're not doing yourself a favor. I always tell people in chunks, before you know it, the drum will full because it will keep you to that point where you don't have to be bored, that you're not seeing your result. 30 minutes per day can give you that motivation, but it takes time. It will take time. There is no shortcut to that. So now I want to talk about Eric, for example. So there's this mechanic. His name is Eric. This is actually a real life story. So, and growing up, I knew this man. He used to walk all those old vehicles. Before Beetle, there was this vehicle that when you park, I can't recall the name. When you park, the tire goes like hides under the tire frames. I can't recall the names of the vehicles, but they were kind of very fascinating back then. Old vehicles before the Beatles came out. So then Beetle came out, then 404 came out before the 504s and everything. But the point is, this guy is good. Eric was good with this. He was just there. He was the man of the town, and he was growing. But then electronic cars started coming out, electrified vehicles. Timothy first left. Timothy was one of his boys. He's kind of a little bit jovial, always the comedian in the house. He left and went to another workshop that was already doing the electrified vehicles, learned it. Before you know it, all his boys left. Now, Timothy was there. He still has those old people that still has those vehicles. At some point, it was about three vehicles remaining in the whole town. Like there was B2, there was the Volvo, and there was, so most of them that were coming is just three customers that could come and park their vehicle for him to repair, while others would just come to pick. Timothy, give me fan belts. Ma go change my car, park for house. So you find out they have gotten to that point that them themselves has become the mechanic, and one of them have actually parked their vehicles on the road and have forgotten about it. So the point is, at some point later on, one man came to Timothy's workshop and grass was everywhere. Asked of Timothy, and they said Timothy has moved back to the village. If you don't evolve, you die. That's the truth about technology. So learning technology is like being a law practitioner. Things change, new laws get implemented. If you don't read to keep up, you will be lost. Being in tech also is that way because new technologies come out every day. Like there's some release, I will sign up to some newsletters and I'll go through my email. Sometimes I feel like I'm spammed because then a lot of versions are released for softwares. A lot of updates are coming out. Even Canva sent me a notification that they have Canva for collaboration in Workspace. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But you have to keep up for you to be able to represent, for you to be able to talk about all those things and be able to talk in the tech community. You have to update yourself. So I hope we understood that. Now, the next point is the challenges because there's no way I will round up with the whole thing that I'm talking about without addressing the challenges that we're going to face. Now, most of the times, it's easy for us to do the sweet talking and telling you everything's too. When you come into tech, you start reaping the benefits, and before you know it, in no time, you start making money and all. I like those talks. It gives you courage, it gives you motivation. But the truth is, if you depend on those, you will, in the lack of better word, backslide before you get to the point of even earning your first uh, whatever amount that you want to earn. Now, let's talk about the first few ones that we're going to look at. This is the imposter syndrome. Now, the first few years I joined in tech, I have learned a lot. In short, at some point in Africa, I was teaching my lecturers how to use some softwares like Microsoft or database management. That was when there was Microsoft Access as well that you could use to build database and everything. So, but for some point, when I am around my people or when I'm around tech people, who started before me or people that I haven't started the same time with, there's this syndrome. And it's not just for me, it's everybody that goes into tech. You witness as if you are not good enough. It's a phase, it goes away. But first of all, before you can make that go away, you need to be consistent. Keep learning. Even when you have assimilated to the top of your knowledge, before you can break away, you have to collaborate. Start earning some compliments. Start getting to, oh man, that software is good, you're doing good. See dope design. Then before you know it, all those tiny successes gives you that boost of morale for you to be comfortable in the space. Also attend to tech events. Yeah, attend to community events that you will just meet up. The first few times you will go will be just to look around. Don't talk to people much. If you are a social person and you're in tech, kudos, you'll find it easy to blend in. If you're a shameless person, because I know some shameless people that will just break into technology, they don't have shame, so they don't go through this phase of feeling like a syndrome. Their own is just to catch crews, and it's good. But the point is, passing through this phase, if you have ever experienced this while going into technology or while breaking into the tech industry, understand that it passes. But before it can, you have to put effort to make sure you associate with people in your community. Also, it will make you increase your knowledge base and make you feel comfortable. Can you know everything? No, you cannot. I keep telling people when I teach programming, I'll like there will not be any need for Stack Overflow if you can have all the codes in your head. There will be no need for frameworks that you can develop your website with if you are expected to have every code in your head. You're not. Google will not be in business as a search engine if you are expected to know everything you meet. So you cannot know everything you meet. There's that gap. Learn the basics, learn the syntax, learn the functions, learn why it is the way it is. So that when you're searching for a solution, you know what specifically to search for. You grow intentionally. So another thing that we'll look at is making sacrifices. If you think being in technology is going to be easy, it might, but in my case, I'll say, yeah, it was a little bit easy because I've gotten into the habit before time where I have to watch movies all the night. I barely sleep. So I watch movies throughout the night. I sacrifice my sleep for my entertainment at that point. But when I got into tech, it wasn't difficult anymore because I was already a sleepless person. I was like sleeping in the day most of the time. But if you have a job and you're expected to learn technology, or maybe you're learning tech and you're working somewhere, you find out that being awake sometimes in the night when you're doing a job or like doing learning, trying to fit into the book, tech will make you sacrifice something. You'll be bad friend to people. Yes. All just I'm telling you is you can just find a techie way to bridge in the gap. Chat people up, call random video calls. I want to talk with you since we have not seen since last week. That's a good thing. At some point, I do because I have an office space in my house. Sometimes I just don't leave my house. At some point, I think after 2020, it was a little bit comfortable to stay in your office and on my home office to just do whatever I want. And for days, my neighbors will be wondering, "Did you travel?" I didn't travel, but I had to put those sacrifices because I also like to meet up. I like to talk. I like to see people, but you have to sacrifice. I I want to ask a question, and please, I just want at this point for everyone to join me in before I can continue. The first question I want to ask is, when do you have your breakfast? Randomly, can we just talk? Like, when do you have your breakfast if you're in tech? So I can confirm that you guys are hearing me.
Okay, we
Anyone?
can hear.
When do you have your breakfast?
I don't even know when I have breakfast.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else? Oh, Evans, when the stomach alerts you, I see. All right, so that question is a tricky one, but please, anyone else that want to answer, I would like that.
Their answers in the comments.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm kind of on the screen that I'm sharing. So let me just move to the comment section and take a look. Yeah, 2 p.m. That's fine. That's good. When the stomach alerts you by 8, mostly 8 a.m. Breakfast is for rich people. I see. Okay, that's cool. Now, I will speak from my own point of view, and it's in no way going to be the accurate thing, but I think I've done a survey and I found out that most times when you're in tech, breakfast is it's not usually that you don't want to eat or you don't have money for the food. You can be in tech and be rich.
You can't stand up.
But exactly, you see that I am on my laptop, I am excited. Let me tell you how I see my job. So I'm a tech person that uses my laptop. When I work or when I build stuff, when I build websites, anything, mobile apps, I feel like you're dashing me money to have fun. Like, get so I have a friend of mine who's a gamer. From when we were children, this guy played game. At some point in his life, he stole his father's money to buy PS, and now he's a full-time gamer. He games like he's one of the game tester for a company, and he gets paid to have fun. So this is exactly how I feel when I am in tech. And most times I forget I have not eaten breakfast till around 5 p.m. Yeah. I sometimes pack to the office with breakfast. I'll have it in my pouch. Either my wife preferred something for me to take to my workplace. And I'll find out that at the end of the day, when I'm going home around 6 p.m. or thereabouts, I'll just say, "Ha, my wife will kill me today. Chai, I'm not eating breakfast." And at that point in time, before I enter my vehicle, I'll just sit one side. I'll just eat. Sometimes it will have soured. Sometimes it will have one funny taste. And you find out that that excitement of being in tech is always there. And when do you sleep? The question is not always accurate. It's not always perfect. But if you're in technology, you find out that it's a little bit quieter in the night. You can think clearly. You can communicate with your laptop or whatever tool that you're working with. And that space of having calm around you gives you that inspiration or something. I don't know. I'm speaking about myself. I prefer to work in the night, but I still go to the office in the daytime. But my productivity rate rises at night, so I always deliver better at night. So Define your moment. It doesn't have to apply the same way it does for me, for you, but define your moment. Now, problem solving is better than showing off. I am going to talk about this because it's a very, very big deal in breaking into technology. You find out that some people, when they learn a little bit of stuff, a little bit of magic, and you compliment them, they'll be like, I have one of my friend. So sometimes I just sit back and watch him. I'll be like, why is this guy happy? Facebook will release an update. This guy will be like, Facebook don't release update. I must see. If you tap the like this, it will be bubbling. Or if you type congrats, it will explode. Hi, mad. So I'll be like, okay, if you are excited about what someone is doing like this, if you do it by yourself, so you find out a lot of people are in tech industry just for the show off, but define your stand. When people are learning things, when I'm doing some under our school of technology, when we do some trainings for some people, we have categories of people that come to that particular training. The first category might fall under I want to learn something and make money. They are dedicated, they are just there, they've paid their money, they are coming first. They will be the first to come because they know what they want to get. Then there's I want to see how to make sure I maneuver and get my certificate. It's the certificate, so I'll post their LinkedIn family and write a lot of story about it. Yes. So you find out everybody has their reason to go into technology. Everybody has their reason to be here. But if you are in the loop of showing off, I've been there. Yes. Oh, that period of time when I do graphics like this, they will be like, "Ha, man, mad. Graphics is mad." At some point, it's just me just posting on my status. I'll just post some series of graphics for people to see, and I'm simulating the glory. And sometimes I even go to get ideas, recreate it, and so you find out that you lose your way a lot more when you are just showing off. But if you're building project intentionally, getting better every minute, it will be something that you can say at the end of the day that you grow. Don't let it get to your head. That is what I'm saying. If you're a tech bro, women like tech bros now. It's not the before. It's now tech bro. Before, it used to be nerds. Yes. But now it's tech bro. And tech is too. Guys like smart people. They'll tell you sapiosexual. Please don't let it get to your head. Just know why you are there. Understand that your world is a constantly changing world. If you don't update yourself, you will be the girl sitting down in a bar where people are talking about Chelsea Club and you're talking about Chelsea dry gin. So understand that. Exactly. So small wins matter. Celebrate your wins. It's good. Celebrate your wins. If you discover small stuff in your niche and you go through some issues, okay, like there was a time I got one comment from Photoshop. Hey, I celebrated that whole week. I be like, Photoshop commented on my design. Like, I screenshot it, I saved it. I think that thing should be in my Google Photos still. It was years ago. So it's a big deal, but it helps you to drive yourself. It helps you to keep waking up every day, repeating the process. Now I'm targeting, I want to build until one big company like that will recognize me. At some point when I was actively in design, I was deliberately designing to make sure that the next release of Photoshop will have my picture on that their release under their Photoshop launch screen. I tried and I saw okay, Photoshop was just kind of picking one person kind of thing. I was like, okay, CorelDRAW. It'd be like say since they get that slider thing and they have a lot of people that they put up, I'd be like CorelDRAW is like the game. I tried it. But the thing is, in as much as I didn't get that, it was a driving force. It was more like the dangling bone in front of the dog. You keep running, you keep running. Every time you keep growing, it helps you motivate yourself. Don't let it go. Find something to motivate you. You will grow that way and it will be better for you. Now, I will go to my conclusion first. Let's talk about it. Now, kickstarting your career in tech is definitely doable. If you follow these steps I talked about, before I prepared this course, I went through surveys. Yeah, I asked a lot of people their own view to make sure it aligns with mine. I opened up my own life on how the journey took me through where I was now, or where I was to where I am now. And I made sure I take bit of what is missing from mine to augment to majority of those people that have gone through their surveys. So if you go through this and be consistent and follow through, you are going to be good in tech. Anybody who is willing to learn and start a career in tech without any formal education is good. It was years back. If it was 2019, yes, if you're coming into tech, they will ask you how many certification do you have. If you're not a computer science student, you will suffer. I suffered. There was a lot of stereotype when it comes to that particular. It'd be like, okay, you don't even have background. When I served in Taisho University of Education in 2015, that's 2015, I taught computer science students final year how to write HTML, like HTML, final year. So please don't allow your background to be an issue to you going into tech. Don't make it an issue. It's never an issue. It doesn't have any relatable thing. If you go to some universities, I was like blown out of my mind to realize that they are still teaching Fortran 98. If you don't know what that means, it's a very, very dead old programming language, and they still teach it in school. You don't use it for anything in the real world. So that is where me as a person come in. The drive to make sure that in as much as you're learning, whatever you're learning, everybody in my life knows me for one thing. I'll ask you, what are you learning? In this ASU strike, what skill are you assimilating? Are you just sitting there and be like when they call off strike? See, the value on education is depreciating. The formal education is depreciating every minute. It's not just in Nigeria, it's a global thing. Most countries have declared that even without the formal certification, you will work comfortably. I've done a lot of work in my life. The only time that I had to present my certificate, that's the physics I studied, was when I worked under one federal government parastatal, and it had to be just submit your certificate. But aside from that, I have never used my certificate that I got in my formal education before or after that, right? So anybody who is willing to learn can just jump in and just do that. It may not really be easy. In short, it will not be easy at all. Even if you want to learn graphic design. Now, let me talk about the graphic design part so I can summarize faster. Graphic design and web development and developers, okay, graphic designers and developers, your job is being threatened. Your life is being threatened. When Canva launched cool stuff, it doesn't mean that you have to give up and be like, what they want to do? They don't want me person. Before all this, Microsoft Word was a thing. I remember designing a logo using Microsoft Word. Yeah. Sometimes I keep asking myself how old I am. I can't realize. So, but the thing is, Microsoft Word has transcended, and now most people don't use Microsoft Word. If not for the reason that you have it on your computer pre-installed, you will not go and download it. There's Google Docs. It's collaboration. It's easy. So you work with a lot of people and collaborate. For developer, there's no code development. That is why when I was introducing myself, I said about no code development. I am also transcended, trying to fit in with the time, just in case. If it comes to that particular point, position yourself. There's a particular niche in Canva called Canva creators. Become a creator in Canva. Create templates and sell. So you find out that that will also help. Now, lastly, in the part of the whole thing is understand that it's not going to be easy. Understand that this journey is something that you don't do alone. Find a mentor, someone that will hold you accountable. I was stuck in tutorial zone. I had a lot of hard drive. I had 2 hard drives with tutorials filled to the brim. Yes, I downloaded it. I was just being conflicting because I'll watch this one, it will tell me to do A 2 times, and this one will tell me to do A 3 times, and it becomes an issue for me. So, but all you need is not the tutorial only. You need a mentor, someone that will hold you accountable. When you come to me to teach you something, even if I want to do it free, I will not do it free. I want to collect more money from you so that you can wake up in the morning and say, this guy collect money from me. Let me go and learn something and my money. You see, that attitude is what you need to have. But in order for you to have it, you have to have someone annoying in your life that will that will show you shaking. According to my friend, say they will show you shaking. So thank you very much, guys. This is where I have my lecture stopped. and I hope I talked about you. So,
All right, thank you so much, sir. It's been enlightening. I'm already seeing somebody's hand up. It's time for question and answers. So
all right,
if you have questions, please raise up your hand and I'll call you to ask. If you do not want to ask live, you can drop your questions in the comments and I'll read it out when I see them. But I'll go first. I have a question.
all right, go ahead.
After me, Fejiro, then after Fejiro, Ifeoluwa. Those are the only two hands on up.
Perfect.
Then so my question is, I mean, it's good everything you talked about tech and how things are changing. You need to
Yeah,
constantly evolve it. Does everybody need to go into tech? For example, let's say I'm a medical student and I just want to go to hospital and treat people and mind my business. Do I have to like do anything tech, maybe learn design or um, maybe coding or something? Does it really affect me? If I say I just want to treat people and go to hospital, is there am I missing out on anything? Because the way tech is being looked at now is, oh, if you're not doing tech, you're missing out. So there's this fear of missing out. Let me now go and do, then you're now going for the wrong reasons and you're not even passionate about anything tech related, you know?
yeah. Okay. So I will use a real life situation back then. At some point, it became necessary that everybody will have computer appreciation. That's what it is now. You must not go into tech to become a professional programmer or to learn coding per se. You can do data science just for the fun of trying to improve your work. Not necessarily coding, but data science makes it easy for collation of data because I believe every job is about collation of data and finding a way to make it easier for yourself. So tech can be a tool and can be a career. So if you want tech to be a tool, understanding that even when you're working in a hospital per se as a medical doctor, that technology surrounds you. In order for you to contribute very effectively, you must learn. Sometimes when we do integration, like for example, we have a software called School Ethics. Now, School Ethics is also for schools, but you find out that some of the pushbacks that we have in those places is the teacher will tell you, "This owner don't come again. I won't take my job." Technology is not to take job. Technology is to improve job efficiency. So when it comes to that point, you don't have to use it as a career path. You have to use it as a tool. So you might not go into learning programming. If your job is to write, you can talk about copywriting, which is a proper way to write in order for your writing, not just being on the newspaper now. Since your writing goes online, for it to be visible, you have to learn SEO, social search engine optimization, which makes it so that your writing will be effective. So that's just what I have to say. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fejiro, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for this talk. I must
Thank you.
commend your presentation. I was just looking at your slide and I was following the cartoons and every other thing. My
Okay, thank
question
you.
is, I I came into tech earlier this year because immediately after school last year, everybody was looking for a way to find their feet. So, and
Yeah.
tech was one in town, the big boys in town. So, I'm not the coding type. I don't like
Yeah.
programming. I hate codes. Like, tell me to type them, I'll just run and leave you. So, I went
Yeah.
into design, which is a UI
Okay.
UX. So I started January, so I have a 4 months experience about it. But since I finished that course, like since I finished that program, I've not been like accountable to myself because it looked as if I wouldn't have even bothered to learn it. I used Big Mac, so I understood designs, how to do the layout and every other thing. But the minute
Yeah.
I finished that course, I've not been able to focus because I had other areas in my life that I needed to work on. And as an engineer, data
Okay.
science is also part of the things that are
Very
happening
much.
now. But all this stuff, I have the knowledge of visualization, the knowledge what you need to do, and every other thing. But coding itself is my problem. That is the major problem. And it looks
Yeah.
as if I'm not part of the big boys. So I don't know how I can do it because my research work must also have to involve data science or coding and visualization. So what is the best way to help somebody that does not have experience in this area?
Okay. So what I'm going to comment is, so you're already good with Figma, and I understand that you had the patience to learn it through. And Figma is a drag and drop platform that you can use to build UI and UX. The same thing applies now because it's gone to a place where tech doesn't have to be. That's why we have no code developers. No code developers are people that don't write one single code to have things done. You have to just do the whole drag and drop. You drop your login system, you drop this. So there are also platforms that offer something like data science calculations and all that you don't have to write the code. You just need to know what you want to achieve or you want to get. And another thing about it, if you also look at this, is when you get into an industry that you're not passionate about, you are passionate as an engineer, you love that. But looking at the other side where you need to write code, it becomes an issue. But you need to assimilate knowledge. Now, there are platforms, I think you're searching for a hands-on person. You're looking to assimilate the knowledge as if you want to abandon your career. No, you want to support your career. There are some platforms that can support no code platforms that can make your work easier, whereby you can integrate it to what you're doing currently, and it will be easy. I will later on, I will share a little bit of some articles so that you guys can, to my contact person who reached out to me, so you can also have it in your groups on some platforms that could easily get things done in your industry as well. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, so it's Ifeoluwa's turn, and two more hands are up. So Joe Martins will go after Ifeoluwa, and then Marianne, I think that's the name. So Ifeoluwa, please ask your question. Thank
Okay, good evening. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much. The
Good evening.
session was quite insightful. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, sir. So,
Yeah.
I actually have a question, though I'm not really into tech as such,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm
Okay.
well in the medical line. But at the point I learned just graphics for myself and maybe people that just want flyers and flyers just not even say just I just do it on like doing. So
Yeah.
but recently I got an interest in cloud engineering
Cloud
and in
engineering. Yes.
cloud computing, yes. So I started I the person that was to train that I got to know it from. The training has really cost a lot, and I thought, okay, maybe I would be able to. Sorry, I'm by the road. I'm actually walking on the road while
Yeah.
listening
It's
here.
fine.
So I got to know about. But I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Please can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so but the training costs a lot. So I tried checking online, YouTube, and so on and so forth. But then I saw some training, some free resources, courses on different courses, then hands-on experience, I'll take hands-on experience and all that. So I started at some point, but let's say I'm not really being consistent. But as much as possible, I've been trying to be consistent, but not on a daily basis. So please, I want to ask that in this actually the amount for the training is quite high, and even other trainings I've seen on cloud computing are also very high. Like is it like £2,000? Where did I get that from? So I just decided that I checked online and saw the free. I don't know. I think you mentioned. I want to get it well. Like how let's say in order to be consistent, I think you mentioned like maybe having 30 minutes per day or something like that. And apart from
Yeah.
that, now you mentioned about having a mentor. At the moment, I'm actually doing even I'm doing it in order to be able to have income. Yes, and that's why I want to go into cloud computing majorly. Yeah, so that by the time I have income in that, I'll be able to establish myself in my medical line. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be able to establish and do what I have in mind in medical line. Yeah. So please, what advice should you give on having mentorship, and how should I go about it to, to
All
take
right.
mentorship and so yeah.
All right, good. I would like to first of all answer generally before I
Yeah,
personalize your
I'm
question.
listening.
Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to say is you should be on LinkedIn as a professional, and those places you can find people that are like-minded or people that are in the same area that you are envisioning to go into. Now, I have some people that I'll just because I was teaching the class and I practicalized it while I was in the class. We went to LinkedIn and we sent a random message to people that are just in industry of technology, and they were doing well. I just said, hello, good day. I really love your profile and I'm trying to be as good as you are. But I would like you to help and become my mentor. You find out that most people like that I give back to you kind of thing. So what they do is they check out to ask you what's going on at each point of time. Also, in our School of Technology, I'm going to still share resources about that later on to my contact persons too. So, in our School of Tech, we have mentorship programs that we all kind of that are ongoing currently. So, whereby when you reach out, all it has to do is choose a time for yourself, and someone will follow you up. It's about giving account to know what you've done every single time and grow. It's going to be difficult on you, yes, but in chunks, it has to be just understand that when you put it in chunks, you might not see result immediately. In short, you will definitely not see result immediately, but it takes a little bit of time to go into it. But if you suffocate yourself with a lot of things and 2 hours you're sitting down to learn and listen to stuff, trust me, at the end of the day, when the 2 hours has gone to that particular 2 hours time, you will find out that you will barely remember what you started with. And tutorials are not just about a movie that you watch. It's something that you have to be hands-on, build projects while you're at it. So I also find resources. I'm noting down the questions so that I can have the ones that I can provide something. So I'll find resources that is associated to cloud computing that is either a free resource or something very, very affordable. All right. So in recap to what I answered to you,
Thank
first
you
of
much,
all,
sir. Very
reach out to
grateful, sir.
LinkedIn. Create a LinkedIn profile first and try to see people in your niche. Then reach out to people first. Then you can now try School of Technology afterwards. All right.
It's your turn. Please ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Am I being audible?
Yes, I can hear you correctly.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have two
Thank you.
questions. One is the time you are talking of choosing tech career, you said something about choosing the one you're passionate about, and also the one that is on trend.
Yes.
So I want you to is there a way we can balance the two, like choose the one you're passionate about and the one that is on trend? That's my first question. The second one is you talked about using tech as a career or as a tool. So I want you to talk more about it, even if it's just percentage of both. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So the first one says balance of passion and trend. Now, if you look at it, you know what passion is already about and what you're passionate about, so you know that. The other part of what you're looking for is when it comes to trending, and when it comes to it's not just trending, it's about the pay remunerations that are in the industry. You know, some misconceptions or some belief that developers, you must have to be a developer for you to really, really earn in tech. It's uh, it's not true. You can There's some areas in technology, copywriting still pays well, SEO, optimization writing still pays well. So you find a lot of niche. Assuming that we are working with a particular subject matter, for example, it will be easier for me to provide you with that answer specifically. But if you don't look at the trend, look at something that you want, something that will pay you in the future. There's so much remote work that you would want to apply for. But looking at what you know currently, you cannot be able to apply for that. So you're building for the work or building for the job you want to get. It's also a motivation, which is in addition to the passion that you're going for. Let's say you are passionate about graphic design And now graphic design is a little bit more of if you are located in something like Anambra and the eastern part of Nigeria, you find someone who will price you 500 for a flyer. So I think I've had the experience. So I'm speaking from my own experience. So, but if you move to somewhere like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, you find out that that is where the tech industry is appreciated as well. So understand that there are some areas you will be in Nigeria, you will not feel comfortable in what you're doing currently. But thank God for the internet, which means you can have clientele from outside. Pick your niche and support it with not just what is trending, what will give you money that is translatable. What is your motivation first? Your passion will have to define that. Then motivation. If you are choosing that as a career path, it is something that you have to work having in mind that you want to leave everything else that you're doing and focus on it. So it has to pay you well. So that can work. Now, while I can't answer that question specifically, is if you tell me a life story that I can edit and give answers to, then I can answer it perfectly. But I believe you can deduce what I'm saying to apply to your life better. Now, your second questions, your question, someone says career versus tool. When I say career versus tool, is some people in 2020, that was the first time I actually stepped out. I have been coaching, I've been training, I have not had content online. I've just been the camera shy person. I am very, very, very particular about my image and things that I say. And I was passing through that phase where I had to make sure that whatever I say is something that I can stand by in 10 years' time. And I think I've conquered that. So when it goes to that point of choosing a tool, if you have a business, for example, I have some people that I trained. I did Canva 101, where I teach everything about Canva and how to use Canva for your business. It was a free class. People joined it. It was a 2 hour stress session. The videos you saw on YouTube as well. Now, the point of that is to assist people that are in business who doesn't have, maybe your business is still young and you don't have that kind of money to throw about to pay a graphic designer. I'm not taking the job from graphic designers in whatsoever way, but I'm trying to give people a little bit of leniency for them to survive in business, which was at that time was really, really important. So to them that are designing for graphics, they are not trying to be a graphic designer. This particular person that attended, she has a business. She does travel and tours outside of the country. But then she's been having that misconception of trying to explain what you really want to a designer. It's sometimes difficult, especially when you're working with freelancers a little bit. So communication, and some people don't have the patience. Some graphic designers don't have the patience. I'm using graphic design, but I'm not in any way saying that's the only niche or that's the only particular career that is troublesome. No, nobody. Everybody, developers are really, really very troublesome too. So, but especially when the clients cannot really translate or explain exactly what they want. So the best way for you to achieve the result is to do it by yourself. Then you can now show. To me, it's a tool that she can explain sometimes. So in business, our company service our business. So to me, if you're looking at it in real sense, it seems as if I'm shooting myself in the leg, trying to take away our business from that. But that's not it. It made after that particular class, it made it easier because whenever she's coming in, she can relate to what it takes in a point of view to give me a sample of what she wants and I deliver it faster. All right. And secondly, in the other aspect is in most cases now it has brought them to a particular knowledge of understanding. It's a tool to you because now you understand better that you cannot come to a graphics designer and tell them to design something for you. Is it not just this one? Is it that just is really an insulting thing when you're talking to someone who is a creative? So you now understand that the just doesn't have to apply because then they put a lot of work to make sure that they come with the concept. So the tool is this. Picking graphic design to support your business is a tool. Choosing graphic design to become everything that you are doing or maybe a freelance part of your life where you're designing to earn from it is a career. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much. And then the last question, or the last
Okay, no.
person raising her hand is Marian. So Marian, please go on. And after that, I would ask the question in the comments and we'll call it a day. Thank
All
you.
right.
Marian, over to you.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Nekachi. Thank you
Yeah,
for
good
this
evening.
section.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I came in a bit late because I was thinking the 7 o'clock I was seeing in my time was Nigerian time. So I just decided to pop in and check. So I found out that they actually gave me based on my time in here. So
Location.
it was already started. So I joined in like 30 minutes, but then I picked up some things from what you said, the last part of it. So
All right.
from there, I got some insight and I started to complain and air my mind. So to know whether I would get a career advice, since that's what the session is all about.
Yeah.
So when I was in Abuja 2020, I registered with AfriHub to learn cyber internet webmaster. So that's the
Yeah.
HTML, CSS, and back end. They use PHP for me then.
Yeah.
But before them, I started off with them with a graphic design because I was thinking probably I may need the insight there to be able to go into to understand the basic of design, the concept, the styling, colors, and everything.
Yeah.
So I entered when I started the graphic design. It was actually intriguing because I learned a lot of things. I was able to do a lot of designs that my mentor gave me to do. So it was actually during the session, it was thrilling and fascinating. I got into the coding proper. It was also fun and tasking at the same time. I
Yeah.
loved it at the same time too. So that kind of confusion all through the 3 months I was there with the classes and the assignments I was doing. So after the class I started doing reproducing website I see online, kind of to get close to something like that, even if it is not
Yeah.
functional, just the front end, even if it's not
Yes.
actually working well, because PHP was a bit difficult to grasp everything in it. So I
Yeah.
was concentrating more on front end. But when I finished, now I'm in a place that I'm not able to do anything for the time being. So I decided to continue with the skill, developing the skill. Along the line, I kind of gave up because I kept feeling I am not good enough. Okay, I'm doing all this thing, but when someone actually asked me to do something, the fear of I can't do this since I was only reproducing what I've seen so far. So that
All right.
made me to give up for some time. So after some time, I tried to get a course. That's being a prostitute in tech. Get another course on data science. Probably there I will be more confident enough. So I started it off like 2 months ago. So far a lot of formulas, but then I got to get over the fears of the formula. Since application, I noticed that application helps us with the formula. So far I know what I want to do. So the
Yeah.
formulas were no longer the issue. So along now I'm into the data science for the past 2 months. And
Okay.
I'm at a crossroad where I am not confused. What do I actually want? That the confusion is there. What do I actually want?
Yeah.
Graphic design, the web development, app
Or
development,
data science.
software development, or data science. What do I actually want? I'm
Yeah.
actually very confused. I am looking more like I don't have the perfect direction, the
Yeah.
perfect things. I don't just know what to put in to be able to land on what actually to do. Okay, I was doing data science because probably I want to go and let me have the basic knowledge before actually advancing, probably getting a master's, making a career change by getting a master's degree in
Okay.
data sciences. But then I'm kind of confused. I'm stuck because currently I got two scholarship online remotely to do still on app development, software development, and now I'm doing I bought a course on Udemy for data science. Now I'm kind of confused whether to just continue learning the both side by side or just to be stereotyped and just choose one thing I want to do. So please, I don't know if you can help me with that. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
my question.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry,
Wonderful.
listen.
So, okay, the first thing I'm going to say is there's no way you can run them side by side because at
Yeah.
some point it's just like saying you cannot serve two masters at a time, and these are masters that are powerful. If you look at PHP is on its own takes you time. If you look at data science, it takes you time as well. So first of all, the question I want to ask: what gives you joy? Like basically, what industry are you in, and what do you want to achieve? Not about the coding. What do you want to achieve? Can you answer that, Miriam?
Hi, Marian. I think you're muted. If you're trying to talk, unmute yourself.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I've been talking actually.
Okay.
Okay. What actually what actually gives me joy is actually before I graduated, I've always been passionate about this technology of a thing, even before it became
Yeah.
this booming industry I'm hearing today. So that was why it was not so difficult in entering that field of HTML, CSS, even though the codes are so much, I can't even know all of them off by heart. Have
Yeah.
to refer to some distance to get the codes I need to work. Yeah, so it was fascinating. But if you ask me what gives me joy, I don't actually know. Because I found both all of them intriguing and challenging. That I want to
Okay.
always solve the problem in any of them I get into. Data science is the same thing, difficult, but I want to always break the thing that I'm not able to do and get it right. So that's why I said I'm at a crossroad, I'm confused. I don't even know what to
All
do
right.
to just take one thing and focus on it.
Okay. So I think I'll just do a little mathematics for you, and it's going to sound funny,
Okay.
but we're going to do the web development that you want to go into and the data science. We're going to do data science plus web development divided by two. So, and that gives you Python. What I understand is that the fascination you have is you want to be present in technology to be a solution. That's just basically what you want to do. But how to get it done?
Okay.
Yes, is you need to also have a particular structure that doesn't give you that place that you get to. You have to learn 1,000 things before you become good. Being
Okay.
a web developer per se, you don't just learn one programming language and you're at it. No, you go through HTML, CSS, JavaScript, either choosing a server-side language like PHP or something that you can now call yourself, okay, now I can finish and identify myself as a developer, right? So it takes a lot of. So I
Yeah.
think the division that we did will be equal to Python. See,
Yes.
Python is also something that you use. That's the language you use in data science. But it's more like
Data
saying
science. Yes.
it's just data science is more like saying I'm learning surgery, right? Which is under medicine.
Yeah.
So I want you to go and learn medicine,
Yeah.
which is Python. Now, when you learn Python,
Okay.
what you are able to cover is you have gotten the satisfaction you need. It's fascinating as well. And you have gotten the ability for you to, at that point of having knowledge of Python, you can easily become a developer for website, and you can also be a data science scientist at the same time without sacrificing
Yeah.
anyone. All right. So
Okay.
I want you
Yes.
to try learning before you can go into data science. Just understand the basics. Go through the basics of Python and learn Python first. Then you can now decide
Okay.
with the excitement of it where you're going to go into. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. I really
You're
appreciate your
welcome.
time.
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Zach. This
All right.
session has been amazing, and you can tell Marian is just ended smiling, and everybody that you
Okay.
answered their question.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
It's not so satisfying that you can just like pick up, exactly what the problem is and answer. And
Yeah.
even us by listening to you, I feel like a mini tech person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So the
guys.
last question on the comments, not some to Uche. So Uche, okay, let me just ask it though. Uche is at a crossroads also. He said he's not passionate about tech, but then because everybody's talking about tech, he's feeling left out. However, he has decided to pick up UI UX and he wants to know if that is a good idea. But he's studying geology and he wants to know, okay, he's studying geology and he wants to continue his work with geology and learn softwares related to his field.
Okay.
Um, and he's doing that currently. So he wants to know if him going into UI UX is a good idea because of this whole hype about tech. Yeah.
Okay. So I will tell you not to just jump in because of the hype. The hype will be useless to you sometime that you will be stuck and you will be wondering why you went into that at first. If it is learning something that's related to your degree, which is the geology thing, there's a lot of programs that will help you in your course. Right? I'm not really well aware on geology and what you guys do. I understand that geology is also the study of the whole rock thing, but I think that's the simplified version of calling your whole thing, your whole course geology as a subject. So there is more to that. But I believe there are also some programming languages that help you in measuring of data calculation of data based on how you want to professionalize in your field. You can go into that. And if you really want to have a presence in tech and you want to talk about tech, why not just talk about tech instead of being in tech? Start a YouTube channel, be a tech talker, and talk about tech. You mustn't have to be a handsome person to be there. You can be a person that talk about it to represent those that talk. Then you might grow so big that you invite people that actually do the job, and then you are a talker. You are also a tech person, because being a broadcaster online also gives you a particular niche, which is also falls under industry of technology as well. So which makes it that you are in tech. You have that affiliation you're looking for, and still maintain what you love without compromising, and still talk about tech. Get to meet people in tech too. Get respected. For example, I'm going to use the most trending event. Ebuka, which is a Big Brother, is not a Big Brother housemate, but it's as famous as the Big Brother housemate. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So you can actually be as famous as the people doing it by talking about it and starting a YouTube channel. It will be fascinating for you and for your viewers as well.
Thank you, thank you. So Somto says hashtag tech talk. Makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
so before we end, I sent a link to the comments. It's every month we have webinars at Nascent, like I said at the beginning, and the
All right.
community members choose the topics that we talk about. So I dropped the link for us to choose the topics for the next one. And sir, you mentioned something about talking in one of your shows, and you also mentioned the YouTube channel. So I take
Yes.
it that you have a show on YouTube where you talk about tech, and I think most of us will want to go there and check out the content as a continuation of, getting all the wisdom from you.
All right.
And also drop your social media handle so that we follow you, go into your DM to ask you the questions that we didn't finish asking in this webinar. So thank you. If you can drop your
Okay.
links for us.
All right. I will drop a link to my LinkedIn so that, but on my profile, you can find a link to everything that connects me there. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Done.
Okay. Yeah, seen it. So that brings us to the end of this webinar. We don't want it to end. I mean, all good things must come to an end. But
Yeah.
um, I think we enjoyed this webinar a little bit too much. We may think about coming back with another time.
It's fine.
Maybe you guys
It's fine.
check another tech topic. I will talk about it and bring it back. And but for now we have to go. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate
All
your
right,
time. We appreciate
guys.
your knowledge.
Thank you very much for having
Yeah.
me. And remember, you can also
And
get in touch if you have questions from my LinkedIn. Thank you.
that's it. Everybody, please unmute your mic and just say bye and thank you to Mr. Onyeka.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks
Miss
so much.
Onyeka. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
Have a
much.
guys.
I
great
appreciate. I
God
Thank you,
appreciate
bless
so
guys.
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Have a good one.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, bye,
sir.
guys.